RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Tuesday night live stream. Excited to be back and looking forward to connecting and finding out what's going on in your world, as well as talking about what, of course, is no surprise to anybody, but worthy of talking about. And that's the push to further expand the monetary base by increasing the wages of everybody progressively over the next couple of years or so. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that, as well as the fact that along with the wage increases comes the push for alternatives to more humanoid style robots to automate services as well. So we're going to talk about that, as well as whatever else is on your mind. So feel free to let me know what's on your mind. And so let me check in via chat, acknowledge a couple people. If we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from. Want to acknowledge you and thank you for hanging out with us. And then we'll dive right into some articles. And I'm going to try my best to rant less and give you guys a chance to call in right here when it's time to open up those phone lines. So let me dive into the chat, and let me see any new viewers. Feel free to let me know where you're watching from. I want to make sure I acknowledge a couple new people in the chat. We got Solo in the building. We got Pabar. We got Daryl. We got the RTD Discord gang in the house. I see. And so I want to make sure. Let me actually put this on the screen real quick. I'm going to pop this window. Well, I probably won't be able to do it. But for those that want to hang out off air and get a chance to connect and talk amongst yourselves, I want to make sure I point you guys to where you can do that. And if you click the link beneath this video here, and if you go to the Discord link right here, which is the third one from the top, you click that and join the Discord community, and you can hang out with a nice bunch of individuals throughout the day and go back and forth and have some fun. So I noticed a lot of chit chatter throughout the day, and I jump in every now and then. So it's always good to hang out. All right, so to keep it going, we got Jordan in the building. We got Tim, Solo, Bobcat. What else? We got Corey, Jay Ham. What's good? How you doing, my friend? We got S400, Adrian Davis, Pabar. Okay, so fair amount of people here, man. Appreciate you guys for taking time to join me. We got Corey, says RTD fam from Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay, a couple people down in Corpus Christi. Appreciate you for hanging out with us. So let me dive right into what the primary subject matter is for this evening. And so today, once again, Mr. Bernie Sanders is back at it again. And so he has an official position as a part of the Biden administration, as one of the committee board members or something like that. And of course, what better person to have in office other than the Godfather himself, of basically trying to further tax the wealth, of course, is what they tell us, to give it to the less fortunate. But yet it all comes at a cost. And once again, they'll never tell you the long-term side effects of the bills and the stimulus packages or whatnot, because unfortunately, a lot of these people who are pushing for increase in this and more stimulus here, all those individuals are late 70s, give or take, and they're more than likely they will not be around to actually witness the consequences that these bills will have on society. But they don't care, I guess. But anyway, so I had a chance to watch a little virtual live session with Bernie Sanders leading the way, basically throwing out his bill. And so it's called the Raise the Wage Act of 2021. And so this is not his first attempt to get that minimum wage pushed up to a minimum of $15 on a national level. And so, of course, throughout the little session, they made their plea as to why at this current moment, given the conditions, it's no way possible for anybody to survive off of $725, which is approximately $15,000 a year. And so at a minimum, to help people make a livable, decent wage, we have to bump it up to 15, which gives them a chance at around 30,000. And of course, a lot of spiel here, a lot more details into it. And so it's a progressive thing, as I mentioned. And so it says, it said it will phase into hike from the current 725 to 950 this year and the full 15 by 2025. So it's not something that will be overnight, but yet he wants to get the ball rolling. And more than likely, once this next round of stimulus comes into fruition, they will probably throw something like this in the bill as well. And of course, a lot of people will be excited about it until they realize what it's actually going to do to them. And so here is the actual live stream that I watched today. And it had, a lot of people on the panel. And so everybody got a chance to share their viewpoints on this. And so what stood out most is this lady right here, who I guess her story is she works at McDonald's now, making 9 or 11 or 12, whatever, has 2 kids. And she's basically reading off a script the entire time, either to the left of the screen or to the right of the screen, that was prepared for her. And so she was trying to present her case as to why it's hard for her to raise a family, work at McDonald's. So she, and all that spiel. And once again, as I'm listening to her speak, I'm really, she's not even aware of the fact that once those restaurants that are already going to have some issues in the next couple months and years, once they realize that the overhead costs to maintain a profitable business, as well as to try to appease their workers, it's not possible, what are they going to do? And of course, all the fast food chains, they've already started. I've been talking about this for quite some time now. They're going to automate everything. And so it's one of those things where unless whatever skill set or whatever service you're providing is something that's of necessity and is of extreme value, and it's not a mundane task that just can be done by a robot, more than likely it's going to be serviced out to a robot. And so after I actually watched this, I happened to be scrolling the internet, and the next article I saw, it says company plans mass rollout of humanoid robots to replace workers in healthcare and education. And so this company over here, it's over, I think, in Japan or Hong Kong. And basically, they already have been implementing this. They have them ready to go. And of course, they're already in use on that side of the planet, but they're going to be rolled out here. And so I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Sophia, who was a model or a robotic model that came out and did some demonstrations a couple years ago. So based upon this protocol here, they've been developing this technology and making it as realistic as possible. And so ultimately, as it says here, healthcare and education. So you tell me that this type of technology will not make its way over here. And especially given the fact that we're in a virtual world now where kids are learning at home virtually, it's good to say that these type of robots will eventually find themselves in classrooms or virtually connecting with children, becoming the new form of teaching for our youth. And then you got all these other little, fake dog type of things rolling out. So it's not a good thing. It's not a good sign. But yet it's a part of the equation of reshaping and revamping the whole entire labor force. And so it's here, people. It is here in full effect. So those are just two articles I want to start off with. And I got a couple other things I want to chime in, but don't want to hog the microphone up. And so as always, if you have any articles, any thoughts you guys want to share or comment on this, feel free to do so in the chat. Just highlight at Rethinking a Dollar, or let's go ahead and open up the phone lines a little early. And I want to hear from you guys if you have some thoughts you want to share on this subject matter or whatever else. So let me thumb through the chat. It says, who says you should be able to raise a family at McDonald's wages? Rodney, great point. But given the society we're in now, given the day and age we're in now, they never point to the leading cause as to why it's so expensive to exist these days. It has nothing to do with fiscal monetary policy from the political standpoint. They can't touch anything to do with the fact that the dollar itself, the Federal Reserve note, is the primary reason why it's hard to survive, just because of all the things that go on behind the scenes, which an overwhelming majority of the politicians, in my opinion, they have no true understanding of how the system functions. All they know is that they have to play the game in order to keep their positions and do the things that they do and talk tough. And of course, whenever they have those financial committees in front of the Secretary of Treasury and Jerome Powell, they all come out talking tough, talking big, but they never do anything. You ever wondered, you ever noticed that? And so they'll never point the blame at anybody. They'll just say, hey, we got the answer. And so, of course, government wants to position themselves as the answer to all the problems that they are the reason that we have them. And so I'm not surprised at all. Of course, I'm sure you guys are not either. And so once again, this is just one avenue of many more to come that will be a part of their push. The government's push to get more funds into the hands of people, while the primary spigot flows through the top echelon of society, those that own the top 100, top 500 corporations. They get the funds first in the form of bailouts and all types of things that are provided for them, with all those windows that, once again, I think I'm not even sure. I remember Steve Mnuchin on the way out under the last administration was trying to close up those 13 lending windows. And I don't know if they actually closed them or not. So they still might be open. And I'm hearing about all the tremblings in the banking sector now. So once again, more ways of getting funds out to the population. On top of the fact, universal basic income will be thrown in there eventually as well. So you know how this situation goes. Yeah, Jim Diggs, great point. And that's the thing. All the costs that will be passed on to the consumers. And so every single fast food restaurant that is able to remain open in the next couple of months and years will ultimately have to put the prices into the actual services. So that burger or whatever it is, you're going to get. Now, here's the thing: is most people will just stop eating at those restaurants if it's unaffordable, as far as it being something that you can actually acquire, because it's already garbage in the first place. But I think just from the fact that the food is not really food, it's just chemically processed, whatever, and it's going to be expensive. What's the true incentive of actually even getting fast food anymore? But anyway, yeah. So basically, a burger, whatever it is now, $7-8 for a burger, depending on where you go, it's going to be $15-20. And I remember somebody called in about was it Five Guys and Fries, saying that their meal came out to like $16 or something like that, and it didn't include a drink or something like that. So yeah, I've stopped eating at Five Guys and Fries a while ago, just because you get a lot of fries, but it's just at the end of the day that bill was not worth the food to me. Anyway, let's talk. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, hi. How you doing, Mike? Steven from Milwaukee.
Steve,
hey, just a quick one, man.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of questions.
Okay.
But at this point, after almost a year of seeing what's taking place,
mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, maybe we should stop having so many questions and we should focus on the answers. What are the answers?
What are the answers? And so I'm assuming when it comes from the monetary / financial standpoint, you're talking about the continuation of the spigot, in a sense, the quantitative easing, the expansion of the money supply, and all those activities. Am I correct? Or you talk about the political chaos,
I'm talking about the whole 9 yards, the whole enchilada.
The whole enchilada, and that's the answer. If there was a single answer, then we would all be well off. But unfortunately, I don't think there is one. So I think we got to break it into chunks and work on it one at a time. And so here's the thing.
Now, Mike, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay, go ahead.
I do think there is an answer.
Give it to me.
But no, I'm not going to give it to you. I think that there's a clear answer. I think it's very distinct. But I want you to go ahead and break it into chunks.
Okay, so
I'm listening.
So I'm looking at, and so the question you asked me is, how do we solve, or what's the answer to the biggest problem? And I'm thinking, and several problems came into my mind, to where outside of trying to figure out how I will begin breaking the chunks up, I'm not sure exactly what answer you're looking for based upon what the solution you already have. And so we can go in two different directions and nothing really gets solved. So I'm curious to hear what you got.
No, I'm just listening, baby.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm going to keep listening.
Okay, well, watch this. So there's no point in holding on to that wisdom you got there. So feel free to chime in, let us know in the chat or whatnot, and we can try to talk our way through this as far as solutions. But I got to know exactly how to define that actual problem before I can give you a specific answer towards the world's problems, in a sense, because I'm not quite sure how to, other than just.
All right,
go ahead.
Here's the dealio.
Go ahead.
I talk to so many people every day.
Yeah.
And it amazes me how, I say to people all the time, I say, man, even Stevie Wonder could see what's going on, right? And I really think, and I listen to various channels.
Yeah.
I'm not on social media, so I'm not really getting that brainwashing. Yeah. And I listen to a variety of different YouTube, folks, because we need information.
Yeah.
We need to be able to dissect and to gain. I only listen to mainstream news to hear what they're not telling people, because they're really, mainstream news is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's quite obvious that there's something taking place. And I'm just amazed at how many people don't want to deal with reality, the truth.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if I want to share.
Watch this.
Obvious.
So okay. So here's the thing. Like, you built up suspicion now that you have probably singly pinpointed a solution to some problems that we all could benefit from. And now you got us all excited and you don't want to share it with us.
No, I think that it's actually, Mike, I think it's so evident that most people know what the solution is, but they don't want to ingest it. They don't want to receive it. It's
Okay.
not something that people want.
Okay.
It's like, the same reason why people watch. I was somewhere today and I was like, wow, they still have soap operas on TV. I was shocked. I'll be 55 next month,
Yeah.
Mike. And I grew up, soap operas, and you stumble and you cross something, you be home sick from school, and you're like, soap operas.
Yeah.
So you start watching. Do you realize we still actually have soap operas? There are people who love soap operas. They love the drama.
Yeah.
They love that suspense.
Now watch this.
So that's what keeps them coming back.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, so basically, a lot of people have become addicted to negative news or negative information. Like, they're drawn to it. So I even find myself guilty of it sometimes, to where I have to unplug from things. But I don't want to hog up the lines anymore. So feel free to, in the chat, because a lot of people are curious as to what you're referring to. Feel free to drop it on us, man. But other than that, let me get a couple more calls in. But I appreciate you for building up that suspense, and hopefully I can come across it myself and with them before we hang up tonight.
Love you, baby.
Appreciate you, man. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hopefully I can come across it myself.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Doing well. How you doing? What's your name, my friend?
Keenan, calling from the ATL suburbs.
All right, Ken, give me some quick thoughts. I want to try to get as many calls as possible, and if I can, go ahead.
No, for sure. I think, your caller was talking about what's the outcome, and I think history shows you. I mean, people will keep their head in the sand until reality hits them.
Yeah.
I think that there'll be a few people who've been smart enough to kind of drop out of this paradigm and get ahead of it. I mean, I wish I could, but kind of didn't start early enough, right? Didn't make those choices with people that feel the same way.
Right. Now,
so I don't know. At the end of the day, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you were going to ask.
No, so I was going to say, as a response to that previous caller, the obvious, answer as he kept iterating was that to me, what comes to mind is, fight or flight. Either we're going to fight, meaning we the people will collectively come to a common agreement that, the system itself is designed against us and we fight back, or we'll be further enslaved. So that's only two options. And we only got so much time in these bodies before we leave them. So death is a final destination no matter what. Now it's a matter of how do we want to live our remaining days, whether we fight or give up. So that's the only thing that comes to my mind as far as where we're at now and what the answer is. And I believe it, revolution is usually how things, go down at the end of the day. So I'm not sure if that's the solution to everything, but that's tend to how things unfold usually. So, but go ahead, finish your thoughts.
Well, in the spirit of, Mike Maloney's, what is the 10 episodes of Money, right? About Rome, how we compare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whether we fight or I guess give into it, we'll either break up as a nation, but that's just going to take so much turbulence. I don't know if people would actually deal with the heartache of doing what's right to separate from the global control as long as they keep it comfortable enough versus the other option of rebelling. And
I agree 100%. Like here in the U.S., because we've had the reserve currency status, we have had the greatest lifestyle that any nation could ever ask for during this time period, where most people don't realize that it's being taken away from them bill by bill, relief by relief, stimulus check by stimulus check, to where it's going to be too late before they wake up to realize what has happened to them. So I don't see the collective coming together to fight. So, but hey, man, I appreciate your call and your insights, my friend.
Hey, have a great night. Thank you.
Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I appreciate the call. Give me a call, man. I appreciate the back and forth, and definitely. So, and that's a great point, man, on the solution side of things. But I believe that we have to break it down into chunks, because not everyone's dealing with the same thing, even though we're all in the same boat. Some people are living and some people are experiencing a completely different. Some people have a whole different level of experience right now, than the majority. So everybody's fight can be different, but it's all against the same enemy in a sense. So, but anyway, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure, Corpus Christi. How's it going tonight?
LBP, doing good, my man. How you doing?
Look, I'm doing good, thank you. Look, today I talked to this guy. He got me into gold, right? He's like an old lieutenant colonel in the Marines, you know?
Yeah.
And I was talking to him. He's still on the whole right versus left, and he's still a little bit on the Republican side, right? And I told him, look, sir, you're commissioned officer. He's high ranking, I go, Trump had to coordinate this. He's a commander-in-chief. Up to the day of the inauguration, he could have sent all those troops home. One order from him.
Yeah.
And what is the Joint Chiefs of Staff going to say? No, sir, I'm not going to listen to you. You know, come on. It's obvious.
Yeah.
And I think he said, well, and then he started thinking, and I think I triggered something in his brain, you know.
Yeah.
I told him, look, sir,
now watch this.
Right.
As you're speaking, I'll put up on the screen here something I came across last night after the live stream, and it was from a local news station here in Detroit, and it says Trump creates the office of the former president to carry on his administration's agenda. And the first thing came to mind was me mentioning about the first time we're going to experience a dual administration where, you know, even though Trump is not the official president or whatever, he still has the clout and the backing from majority of the population to where he can actually call some shots from his own office to where, you know, he could still actually get some things done, you know, illegally, of course, but it's just the fact that, you know, he set up a different office. And I'm not sure if this is something that most presidents do or media shine attention on it. So I thought I would mention that, man.
Yeah, I saw that, Mike. You know, technically, that's treason, Mike. Technically, that's treason. He could be tried for treason. He better be careful.
Yeah, but so as of right now, it's listed as his attempt to have a single location to help get his situation together for his impeachment trial, which starts February 8th. And so between now and February 8th, we'll see what plays out. But of course, if there's nothing greater than this, just a normal office for him to operate out of to for that trial situation, then they'll ignore it. But if it's for more than that, and if it lasts beyond that, then I can see them trying to roll that out because they're looking to do anything they do to crucify this guy. But ultimately, the impeachment is to get rid of all those executive orders that he put in place beforehand. Because if he's guilty of whatever they find and he's impeached, that means his entire term probably goes bye-bye and everything he signed goes with it. So I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's crazy, Mike. Look, just one last point.
Yeah.
All this stuff, you know, of course, all this stuff's going on. You know, it's real. But it's all in our head, Mike. Yeah. When you go on to, like that time you said you went to Mexico, or I go out to the lake with my kids and I put the phone down, it's like we're in another world. It's like this stuff don't even exist to us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I always tell people that get too worked up on both sides. I'm like, look, man, just go out and have a good weekend and you'll forget all about this stuff, you know, because it really doesn't mean, you know, just, I don't know, just get a little perspective, you know, not you, but.
I believe we all need it because we're bombarded with propaganda from the mainstream news on cases and all that other crap. So the question is, where can you actually go to get some good news? You know, that's the thing. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I have to literally create more, you know, avenues of finding things that interest me outside of what is coming my way automatically. You know what I'm saying? So unplugging is a key. So that's why I like it, even in the chat, in the Discord group, you know, I see you guys going back and forth and, you know, connecting with one another, you know, socially bonding. That's what's key, man. So, hey, man, I appreciate you, boss, man.
Okay. Well, I just want to let everybody know, get on the Discord. Sometimes we chat, but we run on into other things. We don't just talk about gold, silver, and the politics, you know? Just want everybody to know that.
Good deal. All right, my man.
All right, Mike. All right.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, good deal, man. So, yeah, appreciate the comments and the thoughts. So, yeah, let's talk, man. Whatever else is on your mind, feel free to highlight it. It's all fair game right now. Let's talk about whatever. We can go talk about the markets. We can talk about, you know, anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. I know we all can use a little encouragement as well as information on things that may not come across our regular radar. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Casey calling from Fort Worth, Texas.
Casey, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Not much. I seen your YouTube channel on, and I seen the title, and you know, I was just thinking to myself. I once read something that whenever there's more technology, more you know, bigger increase of technology increases the wealth gap. And you know, I was talking to my girlfriend today. She got a new job, and she was so excited about how it was paying $15 an hour. And I was like, well, because it's going to be the minimum wage here in a little bit. Yeah. And you know, it's gonna. And you know, think about all the automation and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm just going to have that job too. So yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, I thought I'd just throw that out there and let you get a few callers in.
Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling in, sharing that.
Thank you.
That'd be good. Yeah, man, that's the thing. And so with this whole minimum wage kickoff that Bernie Sanders is going to put out there, basically they're just moving the goalposts. You still got to kick the ball the same length of the field. They're gonna move it, and they're gonna point the blame at somebody else, saying that it's this fault or their fault. But once again, a couple years from now, when all this stuff fully kicks in, the question they're going to be asking themselves is, what is actually a dollar worth? Like, what can you do with a dollar? Because as of right now, today, a single unit of currency, as in this instrument right here, this currency note right here, does very little for you. You're going to need a whole lot more of these to do the basic things. And so that is just going to get worse, because we have this right here. Mr. Biden is leading the charge, and everything that comes from Uncle Sam is all going to be about trying to keep a recovery going or get a recovery going. That's all they're going to be trying to use, but it ain't going to work. And see, I said somebody out there says, Mike, you wrong about something. So let me know, my friend. I'm curious. I'm open to hearing some criticism, as well as any type of feedback. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? It's Brando Commando from
Brando. I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Hey,
What's
so I'm trying to keep a big perspective on all this, try to get on top of everyone's shoulders and see what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
So I watched this guy on YouTube. His name's Steven Van Meter, and he's the bond king.
Yeah.
Right. So I got my eye on bonds these days. So he put up a cool article today from the St. Louis Fed. It's called The Liquidity Trap.
Yeah.
So it's an article written by the Fed or Fed contributors talking about how their monetary policy is completely ass backwards. So he's saying that. So this is why I called you, Mike. Yeah. I know you have a good economic head. I know you can play like the equity versus bond game and balance the two. So in this liquidity trap, more or less, it's talking about that we're not seeing inflation, even though they're printing massive dollars, because as the interest rate approaches zero, people have more incentive to hold on to cash than they do to invest it in any other instruments. Yeah. So the risk of holding cash is like zero. So they're saying that even though they've doubled the money supply, people are now hoarding cash all around the world because it's easier and safer than investing in anything in the market. Yeah. So basically, the Fed is creating this liquidity trap where everything that they're entering into circulation, people are just hoarding. And Steven Van Meter's theory is that eventually this is all going to come up and blow up in their face, and people are going to rush into the bond market, and the yield is going to go down, but the prices are going to skyrocket. Yeah. And since the Fed is backstopping all the bond purchases, they're going to come in. Their whole QE strategy is nothing but buying up bonds. Right. Yeah. So if the Fed is going to be buying up bonds forever, then the interest on those is going to go to almost to zero, because they can't actually implement negative rates, but they really, really want to. Yeah. And the price of bonds is going to skyrocket. And he's thinking bonds is going to be the play of your lifetime. Yeah. And so, I do watch Steve, and I realize he's very dollar bullish because of his thesis on the whole bond situation. And based upon the charts he shows, with the fact that the commercial banks have been the primary buyers of all those bonds, because they are the ones that are selling them back to the Fed. So they're going to be in a much better position, according to him, than we all are thinking it's actually going to play out that way. But once again, they're going to continue to expand the monetary base, printing the very same instrument that is the problem itself. So once again, the more units that are created and put into existence, like what will you actually be able to do with them when it's time to go spend them, will be the question. Because you can be on a so-called winning side and accumulate all these dollars in reserves or whatever, but once again, when resources are scarce, how useful will those instruments be? So that's my only thing, and that's because he sticks to a practical investor's approach with everything. He doesn't realize that the dollar itself will not be the dollar down the line. So what are you going to do with all those things will be the question. And so I think it's risky. It's it's true in the sense that
Yeah.
if we're using Venezuela as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, the inflation is going crazy,
Yeah.
but the stock market is going more crazy.
Right.
So the stock market is still ahead of inflation.
Right. So owning shares in corporations as they are. I mean, once again, I don't know the Venezuelan stock market, but I know it's went parabolic because of the hyperinflation. But once again, having shares in a company that is overly inflated it's in bubble territory. I guess it still reserves some of your purchasing power. But yet, once again, can you cash out, and what can you do with the currency when you get in your possession? And if it's denominated in that same currency that's been hyperinflated, so I would take some profits and get some metals or something else.
I see it, but if you could do me a favor and check out that article, I don't know if you pulled it up or not. I can't see it.
No, I did not, but I will. Yeah.
And if you could dive into it a little bit and try to sink your teeth into it,
yeah.
I'm really curious about this bond play, and I don't quite understand it.
Okay, I will definitely dive into it because I follow Steve, and I definitely follow him to learn more about it myself. So that's a good guy who's very knowledgeable. He teaches, so yeah, definitely a good guy to follow. But Brando, I appreciate you calling, my man. Thanks for the insights.
All right, thanks, Mike. How's it going, guys? See you.
Be good. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the call. So yeah, so the whole bond market situation, that right there is from an investment standpoint, he's a great guy to follow. I personally don't mess with the bonds, so other than just learning still, I just stick to what I know best, which is the physical stuff. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing, brother?
TB, doing good, my man. How you feeling?
Oh, not too bad, man. I'm just, I appreciate Brando being looking that up. I may look into it myself, but we all know that they sacrificed the dollar. So there's a possibility that the Fed sacrificed the dollar, and bonds pricing goes down. I could see the yields going down and bonds going up, maybe. But I can't see the inverse of that. But so I'm gonna have to dig into it myself. But I just wanted to let you know that everybody needs to take on this as the Fed has sacrificed the dollar.
Yeah,
because that's what's happening.
Yeah, and that's the, what other option do they have? Like what keeps them, what gives them the power and the ability to keep this thing even partially afloat is the fact they provided reserves into the system, and then the commercial banks themselves, according to the graphs that even Steve Van Meer show, the banks aren't extending credit as much as they used to. So the whole liquidity trap aspect, I'm curious to dive into more of that myself as well, because cats need these dollars. But once again, who's trying to really hold on to them damn things? So,
well, if you hold on to the dollar, then you're holding on to an instrument, and they're sacrificing the dollar. You're holding on to it. What Steve is betting on is for now. Everybody's holding on to the dollar, and at some point in time, they're going to need dollars in order to buy the bonds. But if the United States is no longer the reserve currency, I mean, technically, they're still going to be reserve currency. But if they're no longer the reserve currency and everybody has switched over to digital, what is good as a dollar in your hand?
Not worth much. And so that's the thing. Other than taking care of your necessities now and using to speculate in these markets to create more of them so you can buy real tangible things, what actually is a dollar really worth right now? I mean, and so you use it to live off of, because saving them things for the future, I don't think the compound interest concept still works anymore. So compound inflation. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. The only thing that they're going to be able to do is switch over to a digital currency. Everybody switch over to digital currency and use the dollars or whatever your country, because every country has their own denomination of currency. Use your own currency local, which is a dollar for us, and then have the digital yuan or the digital whatever it is, digital Chinese dollar, and you just transfer that way. But if all dollars come back to the U.S., that's going to be ugly for us.
See, here's the thing: with all those actual paper units, was it 2.7 trillion? I lost count of, but actual physical notes itself just scattered around the planet. The question is, what are they going to do with those things? They're going to have to either redeem them, sell them, or use them to buy actual tangible goods at some point. And so it's going to have to be some type of inflationary environment that pops up from there. But then I wonder, will they actually look to exchange those things for the digital versions of that, CBDC type of thing? Will they accept the paper units back in exchange for the actual digital solely CBD version of those units? So to keep the things from flooding the market, you know what I'm saying? So Will they try to keep an even level of units across the board?
Well, what's going to have to happen is eventually, no matter how this thing gets transferred over in digital and dollar, the end thing is they're going to have to base it back by gold, and gold's going to, you have to have a baseline when you do this, and it's got to be backed by something that everybody trusts.
Right.
And when it comes back to gold's probably $100,000 an ounce.
Yeah. And so once again, the largest holders, unofficially is probably China and of course Russia. I got an article right here talking about how, even during the pandemic, Russia has upped their mining game to actually go after their own, acquire more gold. So there's still a need for gold in the system, obviously. So they got plans for it. Even though
I hear it's $4 quadrillion out there.
$4 quadrillion,
$billion out there, including derivatives.
Yeah. That is more than possible. And so once again, where does all those things go? And in the small amount of actual resources available, all the elements of the earth, the periodic table is basically where those things are going to be looking to go park themselves at. So everything on the periodic table, copper, gold, silver, every element ever created by God himself, and it comes down to what it's worth in paper terms, is going to be extremely high. So that it's not going to end pretty. It's not going to work itself out, man, without some kinks in the system. So, yeah.
Oh man, I hate it. I want to see it, but I don't want to see it.
Yeah. So here's the article here. It says,
all right, brother.
Appreciate you, man. All right.
Bye.
So here's a little article here. And so I want to encourage people, if you are interested in just staying up to date on what's going on, whether it be the price of metals or whatnot, visit the rethinkingthedollar.com blog. But yeah, here's an article. It says Russia ramps up gold production despite the pandemic. So Russia's out there getting their weight up, and they got plans for that weight. So once again, people about to get ready to dial back. I appreciate you for hanging out with me tonight and sharing your insights. And definitely for the caller that mentioned about coming up with the solutions, definitely shoot me an email, man. I'm curious to hear what you have in mind, because I don't see many options while on this planet other than fighting or flight, ultimately, because it's us versus them meaning those that are trying to orchestrate this great reset agenda. And those are the people who pretty much own all the natural resources. And so we got, what's his name? Bill Gates buying up more farmland than anybody can ever imagine. He's not going to allow that farmland to produce actual real food for the people. He's going to produce some garbage and try to sell it back to us. So yeah, anyway, it's us against them, man. So anyway, as always, make sure you guys visit the RTD site if you want to stay up to date. And also want to make sure, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, feel free to acquire a shirt to show your support for the Get Your Weight Up concept. And other than that, people, you know what else to do. Get your weight up, stay prayed up, and definitely in all the resources that you use on a daily basis, food, water, shelter, those are the things that we should be focusing on acquiring to unplug ourselves as best we can from this system. And that's what you can do on a practical note. And then beyond that, the rest is in the Lord's hands. So give it to him and let him do what he got to do, because it's all good if you're in Christ. So anyway, people, I enjoyed hanging out with you. If you enjoyed the back and forth, give it a thumbs up. And then I want to make sure I remind you, go hang out in the Discord chat, click the button beneath the video, go to the Discord page and join us for a little after party. But other than that, that's all she wrote. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month toward the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.